Right, this is my little Warco lathe. I bought this a couple of years ago actually. When I first bought it, it wasn't working. It had this motor on it which was burnt out. Most of the gears have not been on there, but I've got this myriad of bits and pieces that go with it. There's the old control unit with the digital readout, the spindle readout. That's the control board, neither of which work. I've bought this new control unit from eBay. It's a bit bent, but I can straighten that out, so that's no big deal. Anyway, so what I've got to try and do is I've got this speed control unit that's already on there, which works, and the lathe works with it on, but the problem I've got, there's no spindle readout, there's no emergency stop, there's no forward and reverse. So I bought this new motor which I fitted on the back here, and I'm putting new gears on, metal gears. They're originally plastic gears. That's the original plastic gear. See if I can get a better angle of that. Yeah, that's the new gear that I put on, and the motor. The reason I did that was because the belt that came with it, I've really had trouble finding that belt, so I've gone over to a more commercially available belt with it's got slightly different pitch on the teeth. That's the old cog. There's some bits and pieces that I've got with it. This gear here was too wide, so I had to turn it down. It was sort of that wide, so I've turned that down. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this control unit off and look at wiring this one in to either the same position. If it won't fit, then I've got to take this out of here anyway, because I want to use that. There's no speed control in this unit, so I'm going to take the gubbins out of that, take the insides out of that one, and put in here, and hopefully get it all running how it should be with you know, emergency stop, new spindle speed readout, variable speeds, fused, etc., how it should be. This one comes with a magnetic sensor for the spindle readout, whereas the original one, which is this, it's got a I think it's an optical sensor, because it comes with this little wheel here, which I'm assuming is for the spindle readout, but I might convert it to the magnetic one. But anyway, that's just an overview of the lathe. The rest of the lathe is in very, very good condition. You know, it's quite an old one, but you can tell by the quality, if you compare this against a modern day Chinese lathe which I've had recently and sold, the bed, the ways, everything is far superior to the newer one. So I'm looking forward to getting it working properly. Right, what I'm going to do is take this board out and use that as the controller. Not sure how that switches at the moment. Anyway, I'll figure that out. Use that as the controller. That's the on and off switch, isn't that? Yeah, so I'm not sure what it switches actually, but anyway, or how it switches, I should say. That's going to be easy enough. It's just a question of whether there's enough room in this controller, in this circuit board, or unit I should say, to house the gubbins, which I'm sure there must be because the original one was in there. Not quite sure how that was in there, but that must have been in there somehow, because there's nowhere else for it to go. So anyway, let's just have a look at the wiring on this. So obviously that's the speed control. It also converts the 240 volts to 180 volts DC. So that's just something on there. I thought it was a crack in the board, but it's not. So anyway, let's figure that wiring out and then I'll be back. Just doing an M4 tap. Got to put a bottom tap in this hole because it seems to be solid in there, so right, just need a couple of little M4 screws. Those are for right, those two holes are to secure this on. If I'd have used the original holes, then this particular one is right down behind the emergency stop switch, which means I'd have to take all the emergency stop off to get the screw in. So just got those tapped in. Now I can get the control box positioned. Right, I've got the new control box on. Fits quite nicely actually, which I was surprised about because it's larger than the original, and this one's only plastic and this one's metal, so that's good. But anyway, what I've got to do now is just take it off and figure all of this controller wiring out. Right, because the gearbox holder cover won't go on because it's touching this part here is touching the belt now, because I've put a different motor on and the motor is further back, so the belt is further back. So what I've got to do is modify this casing. I've got to mill a piece out of this casing so it fits over the belt. Not very good, because to clear the belt I've got to cut most of this away, which will lose the holding position for that. Right, because I've got to tap a hole here, because this one's too far away to line up with the slots on the machine. I've put an 8mm collet in here and an 8mm stud in here, and I'm just going to position the table until it fits in the 8mm collet, and then I'll know it's upright, and then I can drill and tap that hole. Right, I've lined that up now, so all I need to do now is to move over with the drill bit in, and I know that it's going to be upright that way, so I can drill and tap that hole. Right, I can now move the table 30mm that way. That now should be exactly in line with those two holes, which it is. Right, it's a nice easy tap. Yep, cool. Just get all of that blown out, don't want that on the magnets. Right, I've modified the position of the motor. So now it's using its original slots, and it seems to be working pretty okay now, so fingers crossed this will go on without interfering with it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we can start assembling this now to get the gearing back on. Leave that slightly loose for the time being, just in case. Well, no, there's no need to leave it loose. Let's tighten that up. Right, this is the part of the sensor. Yeah, I'm not sure if that goes on there like that, because it's touching on here, so clearly doesn't go on there. Perhaps it goes on afterwards. Yeah, we've got two of these rings, a locking ring and another one, so we'll get that one on first. something's not quite right. We're going to have to take that off. Right, I've managed to get the gearing all back on now, and I've got the new motor installed back in what was the original position with those couple of bolts in there, which I'm quite pleased about, because I didn't have to cut any of this housing away, because I managed to get the motor tucked in further, which is good, because all of the casing's going to go back on properly now. So anyway, I'm going to carry on with the control box. I'll bring you back to that once it's all wired up. I've got it wired up now. Just to give you an indication of what I've done, this is the board. Just to recap, that's the speed control board from this, which is a DC 51. The outlets are DC here, and the input is AC here. I'm not using the pulse width. So anyway, the output from the DC, the 180 volts output, it's pin number 1 to pin number 1 on the switch, and pin number 2 here, that the positive output goes to pin number 3, and then I've wired the motor in to pin number 2 and pin number 6. The rest of it is fairly straightforward. It's just AC power comes in to the switch, out of the switch into the board here. This little control I've put on here is to power the LED, because there was no 5 volt output from the main board, so I've got this little board which just converts the AC into 5 volt DC to power the board. What else have I got there? That's pretty much it, I think. I've taken the AC from the connectors, I've soldered it to the board for the AC in, so that's only live when the power is live. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've now got an emergency switch, which is a no current shut off switch. I've wired the new sensor. Let's just move the camera. This wire here goes up to the sensor, which I've put a little bracket on here. I'm using the magnetic sensor with a magnet just on the little wheel. This was the little optical wheel from the optical sensor, but I'm using the one that came with this unit. I put a little slot in there so I can run the wire down there when the cover goes over, and that'll retain that. So that's pretty much it to get the covers back on now. Right, there we go. It's all back together now, working okay. Much better with this on now. I've got spindle readout, I've got forward and reverse without changing the gear on the back. I've got variable speed, emergency stop. Yeah, really pleased with that. Right, the only problem I've got is the maximum speed. That's maximum speed. So maybe the controller isn't as good as I thought it was, but anyway, I think that's fast enough for what I want to do on it. Okay, great, all done. That's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. I would also appreciate it if you would click the subscribe button, because that will enable me to grow the channel. so that I can keep making these videos. Please leave a comment or a question. I do read all of the comments and reply to as many as I can. Thanks for watching.